For Chapter 11 Tutorial 1, Figure 11-50, the self-locking nut, I'm going to start this one by clicking on the top plane and going to Sketch. Then we'll go to Sketch View Orientation to look straight at it. To draw the hexagon, I'm going to use the palette. So when I click on palette, it's going to come up with all of the different shapes that I can use. So for a 6-sided hexagon, I'm just going to left click and drag this into my part, and then close this. Now there's a couple of things that I need to do to make sure that this thing is lined up where I want. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to left click and drag it until it kind of snaps to my origin point. That's going to lock that in, and at this point I can go ahead and make sure that the scale is set to 1. It's going to make it very small, but once I dimension it, it'll come out to the correct size. So now I'm going to zoom in, and it's going to be way in because it was pretty small to begin with. And at this point I can go ahead and put in the dimension that goes across the object. So from here to here, and then I want to make sure that I have that dimension of 1, which I don't want because that's the dimension across just one of the legs, and I want the distance across the flat. So I'm going to delete this one and put in this dimension at 155. Now at this point I'm going to make sure that I go back to my sketch view orientation, and I want to make sure that I have a horizontal constraint on at least this line or this line, and if I look down here I can see that there is a horizontal constraint right here. Now for the most part, this is a completed sketch for what I need to do with this. So I'm going to go ahead and say OK, and then we'll extrude this thing the thickness of this lock nut, which is going to be 65. And then I'll say OK. The next part of this is probably the most complicated because we can't use just any normal type of chamfer to create or fillet or the round command to create that round that goes around the top of any type of nut or bolt. So what I want to do is I want to click on my front plane and go to Sketch. But this time, instead of going through here and making sure that I go to the sketch view orientation, I'm going to leave it flat. I'm going to go ahead and put a center line in here because I'm going to need something to revolve around. And then I'm going to project this edge and this edge onto my sketch. And at this point, I'm going to create a circle in here, and I'm going to give that circle a diameter of 60 because the radius of this fillet is 30. So once I have that, I can go to tangent between this circle and this line, and then this circle and this line. So this area right here represents the area to be removed. So I'll go to delete segment, and I'll get rid of the back side of this, and I'll get rid of the excess lines in this location. So now I have the profile that I can use to fillet this with. So I'm going to go ahead and say OK, and then I will go to the revolve command. In the revolve command, it automatically picks the profile and the axis, but I need to tell it by clicking this button right here to remove the material instead of add the material. Once I select that button, I can go ahead and say OK. And now we have the fillet that goes around the outside of the self-locking nut. So now to complete this part, I only have to add the top piece that comes up and the hole that goes through the object. So I need to select this face and go to Sketch. And on here I'm going to draw a circle that matches the outside diameter of the part. So we've got an inside diameter of 75 and an outside diameter of 100. So I'm going to change this to 100, and then I can finish this sketch and extrude this its height of 50. So let's come over here and just change this to 50 and say OK. Next I'm going to go to the hole command, select this surface, hold Control and select the axis. I want this to go through all, and I want it to have a diameter of 75. Once I have that in place, I can go ahead and accept that. And here we have the completed self-locking nut for Chapter 11 Tutorial 1.